Voices of Women is a talk radio show that gives voice to the personal stories of women. It will inspire women and enlighten men to follow their dreams and create positive changes in their lives. Whether the audience listens to best-selling authors or a layperson like themselves, they'll realize there are others with similar experiences and feelings to their own. This show will give women tools they can use every day, which will empower them to step out of their boxes and create the changes they desire in their life. Kris inspires women to find their voices, speak up, and become leaders of their own life. Everyone has their gifts to share with the world, and it's time for women to work together to bring honor and respect to the feminine voice, which is within all people, men and women. Topics include personal growth, spirituality, creativity, leadership, and divine feminine. Now here's your host, Kris Steinnes.
Well, welcome to Voices of Women. I'm wishing everybody a great Friday, wherever you are. If you're snowed in or iced in or have like Seattle today, beautiful sunny day, wherever you are, that you're safe. We're getting close to the holidays, and unbelievable, the end of 2016 is coming up. And I think I'm talking to many people. I think many are glad to see that we're coming to the end. It's been a difficult year for many people, and always go into that new year with that hope of 2017, and we're coming in with so many concerns. People concerned about the new presidency, what's going to happen, that uncertainty, the war in Syria, what's happened in Aleppo. I mean, the list goes on, and at this time, in the holiday time, we want to have hope. And what I work for is for women to gather, and the importance of gathering, to share our concerns, discuss what we can do, because it's not hopeless. We're not unpowerful. And there's going to be lots of opportunities to do that at Women of Wisdom Conference in February. We will have these discussions. As women, gathering is an important thing we must do now to find that support for ourselves, to find that hope and continue to work for what we desire for our world. It's our 25th year, so we've been doing this a long time. It's February 16th to the 20th. We invite you to come share your stories, be a witness. That's an important aspect of Women of Wisdom, and for women in general, to witness other people and what they're going through and what they're feeling. Gather together to express what is important for women in our world and how we can support each other. Last week, I announced on the radio show, and I've sent emails out to our community, that I'm retiring after this year's conference. It's been 25 years, and hence the need for our crowdfunding campaign to keep us going and support Women of Wisdom. Your donations at any amount is greatly welcomed and needed for us to continue working for women. So you can find out about that on our website at womenofwisdom.org. And today is the deadline for a couple early bird specials for two of our featured guests, Carolyn Muir, author of Tantra, The Art of Conscious Loving, and Nikki Scully with Normandy Ellis are giving a 2-day intensive workshop on the Egyptian mysteries and oracle reading. Check out the full schedule of the 2017 conference on our website, womenofwisdom.org. Jean Houston describes it as, there's nothing like this in the world. And so I'm going to continue in this show, introducing you to two more Women of Wisdom presenters. I love doing this. We've just got very talented, amazing leaders that come to Women of Wisdom to share their gifts with our community. And my first guest is Lea Bayles. She is a holistic wellness educator and transformational speaker, helps women delight in their bodies, align with their souls, and activate creative flow for personal and planetary transformation. She's the author of Take Back Your Life, From Chronic Pain to Lifelong Healing. She's going to present a workshop that's called Shakti Rising, Unleash Your Creative Life Force. It's going to be Monday, February 20th. So welcome, Lea.
Hey, Kris. Thanks so much. It's great to be here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I always start off with people telling their stories, so I need you to share a little bit about you, how you came to be, working with women, how that came to be as your passion and your purpose.
Well, gosh, I guess very quickly I'd have to go back to being a teenager in the 70s and having the opportunity to be around some women who at that point were doing what we call consciousness raising. And they were at the university when I was in high school. And I had this very progressive psychology teacher who was into human potential and women's movement and brought me into some of those things at the university. So like many, many, many years ago, I had the great opportunity to be around women then who were like really working with the spirituality and the empowerment. And so I was pretty steeped in it very, very early and had some wonderful mentors and teachers then. So, there, and being very, very drawn, even as a little girl, to images of the divine feminine. And dreams about, that now I realize were goddess dreams of, women, very powerful women, and women in garbs I didn't understand that would come to me when I was a little girl. So, it was very seeded early. I don't usually actually tell the story back that early, but when you said that, I realized it's just so been in me and in my dreaming and in my deep consciousness for a long time.
Well, that's fortunate for you. A lot of people, that comes later in life. We start searching in our 30s, 40s, 50s, and you had that, as a teenager. What a gift that was to you. So your workshop's on Shakti Power, and I would love for you to just, share with us what do you mean by, what is Shakti Power?
Well, Shakti Power, to me, is that creative life force of the universe. That animating life force that moves through and creates all things and all beings. And like the two biggest metaphors that I think of with it are like a free-flowing river and fire. And I've studied yoga and qigong and aikido a little bit and shamanic work, and within all of those, there's that aspect of that life force that we connect with. And Shakti is the goddess from the Hindu tradition who embodies that. And over the last number of years, I've just felt that very strongly as a feminine presence, a feminine creative force in my life and in my work. And my particular take on it, I know some people do it through the Hindu traditions, and I totally respect that. But my sense of Shakti is that she is a presence available to all of us all the time. And my work is cultivating that, helping connect with that, each of us in ourselves. And really, I see it as the co-creative presence, that it's there to work with us for healing and creation in our lives, our personal health, our relationships, our communities, as well as the bigger world, so that we're aligning with that and nourishing that life force in us, that Shakti force in us, and she helps create through us what we're really deeply desiring. Our desire calls her forward.
And that's that's great, and you have tapped into it. And how has that personally affected your life?
Well, early, I would say, like in my early 30s, I had a serious immune system breakdown. I had little kids. I was in grad school. I was doing the thing a lot of people can relate to of thinking I was Superwoman and pushing, and I had a complete collapse. And it was diagnosed as a few different things. I went to the, doctors weren't sure I was going to live, first of all, and then my deep inner sense, though, beyond the diagnoses, beyond the test, was that I had deeply depleted my life force, my inner reserve of energy, and that if I was going to really heal, it wasn't by going from doctor to doctor, outer, cures. It was from really committing to cultivating that life force in myself. And at that point, I wasn't calling it Shakti. I was just calling it life force. Same thing. And then a few years later, I had another breakdown, and that was diagnosed as chronic Lyme disease. And again, it was like my healing path with this is not, for me, the medicines but the recommitting to nourishing that creative life force, that vitality in me, and had remarkable healing from both of those recommitments. And so I see it a lot for my health, and as I'm in 61 now, using it for the vitality that makes my body strong and healthy and makes me feel great. And also in the last few years, what I've really, really worked with is the Shakti power as my creative expressive force. So the healing, but also it's like I feel her summoning me now in the last 10, 12 years especially to bring my voice forward more fully, more strongly, more clearly. And so, it's that healing power, and it's also that creating into the world, bringing expression into the world power.
Oh, that's so in alignment with what we do at Women of Wisdom. And you're coming here, we're really getting static on our line, but we're coming here to do that, and it's so important. I know one of the things that you're going to be doing at the conference is for women in their second half of their life to connect with this energy. And why do you think that's so important?
A little shift. There. Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I must have been my headphones. Well, of course, I encourage women at any stage to connect with the Shakti Power at any time. And I do think it's even more imperative, even more compelling, even more important for our health in the second half of life. I think there's this idea that we get to a certain point, whether it's 40 or 50 or whatever, and we start declining, that there's this inevitable decline. And we see it around us. Lots of people lose vitality. They lose strength. They lose energy. They lose that sense of being impactful in the world. But it's not inevitable. We live in a very depleting culture, but when we take charge of that, when we work from the inside with that Shakti power, with that life force, we don't decline in that same way. We don't lose energy and vitality. So I think it's really important for us to know that there's a way we can cultivate and connect with that for our own health and vitality and well-being.
And we're going to talk about that more when we come back. We're going to take a break right now. So
okay, great.
Stay tuned. We'll talk more about how to unleash your creative life force.
Are you sick of feeling overworked with no motivation? Take a break from the daily grind. Life coach Nicole Eisler is here to provide a healing journey of optimism. Passionate and caring, Nicole is no ordinary soul. Her dedication to helping everyone has no limit. Witness the power of positivity. Tune in every first and third Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific for Positivity Party Radio with Nicole Eisler on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit BigDreamAwakening.com.
Do you want to achieve your goals? Do you want to strengthen relationships with others? Do you want to improve your financial status? Colette Marie Steffen is partnering with Mark Kettenbach to bring you an energetic upgrade online experience. Unfold and develop your full potential. Visit energeticupgrade.com today for more information. That's energeticupgrade.com.
Beyond being this amazing neurologist, inventor, author, Dr. Dan Cohen has been called to look at technology and look at personal and spiritual development and merge these together. His technology uses the healing and psychospiritual effects of synchronized sounds, vibrations, electromagnetic fields, and how that interacts with us in our nervous system in what we're calling the Soul Tech chair.
The Soul Tech Lounge induces profound levels of relaxation that transition over time into deep meditative states. The synchronized sound, vibration, and magnetic field induce these states. The subject doesn't have to work at it.
To learn more, go to SoulTechWellbeing.com. That's SOLTEC Wellbeing.
Kris Steinnes is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
Tune in to The Michael Shane Show the third Tuesday of each month at 11 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com and connect with the ascended beings to raise your vibration and manifest the life you desire. Get ready to receive healing through the transphysical mediumship of Reverend Michael Shane and the ascended beings. Visit MichaelShane.com. That's MyChael, Shane.com, and call 425-971-6632 to schedule your full healing session now.
Well, welcome back to Voices of Women. I'm Kris Steinnes, and I'm here with our Woman Wisdom presenter, Lea Bayles. She's going to present a workshop on Monday, February 20th. It's a holiday, so people can attend. It's on Shakti Rising, Unleash Your Creative Life Force. So, Lea, can you share your website where people can find out what you have available for people?
Oh, great. I love that. It's www.leabayles.com, and that's just LEABAYLES. And if you're listening and you'd like to email me about anything, I'd love to hear from you. That's Lea@leabayles.com.
Great. And so we were talking about this creative life force. So what's the benefits of activating this for people?
Yeah, and you had asked a question about, like, why particularly at midlife do I think it's important? And we talked about, like, health, that it's really important for nourishing our health and keeping our bodies strong and vibrant. And it also, Barbara Marx Hubbard has this wonderful phrase that she says, at a certain point in life, somewhere before menopause or right around menopause, we move from procreation to co-creation. So our energy early, from the time we're 12 or 13 and we start menstruating up until our 50 or so, our biological energy is so strongly around procreating. Even if we don't have children, our biology is still wrapped up in that energy, and it's freed at menopause, or even a few years before. I hear women talk a lot about it even earlier, like, well, I feel these stirrings of something else that's ready to move through me. And it's that co-creative energy. And when we can consciously align with the Shakti Power, the creative life force, we can bring forward things in our life that we didn't ever in earlier times. I think we're much more ripe for certain kinds of expansion, for certain kinds of creativity, and that we do that not necessarily automatically, but we do it by connecting with that life force, with that Shakti energy, and by letting it have room in our life, by connecting with it, by having practices that get it flowing and free, and by knowing then how to channel that, how to listen to it, how to be guided by it. So it gives us health benefits. It helps us be strong and healthy and vibrant for all of our life. And it helps us be more expanding into that developmental stage of the second half of life when we're more creative, we come into ourselves more fully, and we can become even more creative and powerful than we've ever been in our whole life.
Well, you mentioned practices, so I'd love for you to share a little bit about, what practices do you teach people that they can do on their own in their home to activate this creative force?
Great. Well, one is so simple, which is begin to become aware of what depletes you and what energizes you, so that you're developing your own inner GPS. I think that kind of like playing that game we played, some of us when we were kids, where we'd be like getting warmer, getting colder. You move in one direction, and somebody would say, "No, you're getting colder. You're moving away from it." And so we're sensing in that same way in ourselves, like, "Wow, what depletes me?" Even a little bit, what situations, what sort of thoughts, what sort of activities become depleting of your life force, and which ones begin to activate it, to energize it. Because when we can begin to have that sensing in ourselves, we're constantly nourishing that life force. Because in our culture, especially women, get so depleted. We get so busy. We do so many things for so many other people. And to begin to be able to really sense which of the things deplete us and which of the things nourish and energize us is kind of a continual practice.
Mm-hmm. We were talking about awareness, and I think in order to discover those things, to be aware of. I love that analogy of that game of getting warmer and getting colder, but that awareness comes from allowing yourself to get still. Some people say like to meditate. Like all our great healers, teachers in the world, like Gandhi, were meditators, and to find that quiet place in yourself so that you can discern what works and what doesn't work. Now, what's an example? Because it doesn't always happen so automatically for everyone, and so what are some of the things that hold people back? And there's and maybe it's a myth about our aging.
Myths about just the whole idea that inevitable decline or the decline is inevitable, that we're going to have less energy. So many people, I even hear people in their 30s will start to say, oh, it must just be because I'm getting older. Oh, I'm getting achy because I'm getting older. And it's most of what we call aging is misuse of our body. And there's no blame in that because we're not taught very well, but we can relearn that. And so, one of the things is listening to our bodies and not discounting it, the messages we get as either being unimportant or as meaning that we're just getting older, but wow, what can I learn from that? How can I work with that? And, your question brings up so many things because our ideas about aging are very important, and we need to really be conscious, lovingly conscious of what we're telling ourselves about aging, because we know we're programming our genetic structure when we have thoughts that we're saying to ourselves about how we're going to age. And so we really need to have an image of ourselves. I encourage women to look for other women who are 10 or 20 or 30 years older, who are vibrant and alive and making contributions and whom you really admire. And notice what, them as parts of what you want to create in your life. And to create a vision for yourself of what you want and how you want to be. And then we begin taking steps toward that. Our imagination holds it for us, and we begin noticing, what am I doing today with the way I eat, the way I rest, the way I take care of myself, the way I think, that is moving me? Is it moving me toward that I really want for these next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years? Or am I, in my mind, creating an image of what I don't want and then working to make that happen?
And that's ways we sabotage ourselves.
Yeah, one of the ways, definitely. I think another thing to think of is anything we say, that we're either too much of something. Women will often say, oh, I've got too much energy, or people have always told me I was too sensitive, or, whatever that too much is. But within that, there's always a gift. And so anytime we hear ourselves saying, oh, even someone says, oh, I'm too bossy, well, within that, maybe there are just really amazing leadership qualities that haven't yet been nurtured fully. And so sort of notice that when we say to ourselves, or other people have said to us, you're too much of something, it's like within that is a gift that we can work with that will help show us who we really are and how we can move into ourselves more fully. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes. And I hear this from other women too, well, I'm told I talk too much. I'm told I'm too sensitive. It's very common, for women. I'm too emotional, and all those stereotypical statements that about women in a way, and then we buy into them, And so we need to count it. I love it that you're saying, find somebody who is vibrant, older than you. I remember when I turned 30, it didn't bother me to turn 30 because I had friends who were already in their 30s and saw them as great people. And now, I'm 67 and I see people in their 70s so it doesn't bother me to age. And we're such an ageist culture here.
We so are. Yeah, we so are. And it starts so early. It's amazing. I hear people truly in their 30s who tell me, oh, I'm too old to learn an instrument, or I'm too old to so-and-so, or...
I'm laughing because at 30 is,
No, I know. And then, then at any age, we really have so much more potential. It's like I think one of the things most true about us as humans is we are continually growing. We continually have the capacity to grow, to become more of who we really are. Our brains can change, we can rewire them, we can change old patterns, we can grow into parts of ourselves that we haven't yet had the chance or the opportunity to do, and that never ends unless we put the cap on it.
Yes, it's us that stops ourselves. So, and what your last 30 seconds, a message you want to leave everybody with?
It's said that a certain group of people in South Central Africa, when the babies are first born, the parents say to them, become who you really are. Become who you really are. And that to me is what I hear Shakti saying to me and to the other people I work with. At whatever stage we are, it's this opportunity, this gift, this challenge, whatever it is in our life right now, is a chance to become even more who we really are. So Shakti works with us to help that happen, and I am just honored and thrilled to help bring that forth in myself and in other people I work with. Become more of who you really are.
Thank you, Lea. Have everybody check out her workshop at the conference. Just go to womenofwisdom.org. It's Monday, February 20th. Shakti Rising, Unleash Your Creative Life Force. So we're taking another break now. We're going to come back and hear from another presenter, Vicki Todd.
Join in on one of the most life-transforming adventures in personal expansion and world service. In each of our upcoming shows, you're going to have the opportunity to join thousands as we focus healing energy to elevate and balance our world. This is a chance for like-minded individuals like you and I to join forces with light workers all over the globe as we light the way for peace, harmony, and a world driven by love. You'll also learn about magical innate abilities that you can develop and use to make your dreams come true. Joy Elaine, author of the Joy Chronicles, invites you to join her and millions of others working with the Galactic Masters, Angels, and the Ashtar Command as they assist humanity and planet Earth to achieve their ultimate destination of ascension. For more information, visit joyelaine.com. That's joy, ELAINE.com.
Kris Steinnes is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
Are you feeling stagnant or blocked in your love life, career, health, or finances? Experiencing difficulty focusing or setting and achieving goals? Tune in to Spiritual Diagnostics Radio with psychic visionary healers Carol Dorian and Suzanne Evans. Discover the cause and effect of unwanted patterns in life. Tune in every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit spiritualdeed.com.
Tune in to Dynamics of Diversity Radio, scripting the new narrative for immigration with leading experts Kripa Upadhyaya and Steve Tanijo on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This show will remove the noise that often accompanies discussions on this topic and share a new perspective on the dynamics of immigration and diversity, ever reminding us that together we are all at the core of innovation, excellence, and positive change. Visit OrbitLawPLLC.com for upcoming topics.
There are so many resources out there for meditation. But did you know that Atana's Heart Earth Healing Meditation is available for you for free? Yes, that's right. You can receive this free healing meditation today from Atana Vadili. All you need to do is visit his website, atanamethod.com. That's ATAANA method.com, and sign up. You will receive your free meditation instantly. That's atanamethod.com.
Well, welcome back to Voices of Women. I'm Kris Steinnes, and I'm going to be introducing you now to Vicki Todd, another woman wisdom presenter. Vicki Todd is a memoir artist and life coach. She began her adult life as a non-working wife and moved on to be a university professor. She took courageous steps, as then after that she resigned from her tenured position to fulfill her purpose as an artist who inspires others to follow their calling. She's the author of a visual memoir, Unstuck, One Heroine's Journey of Art and the Courage to Live on Purpose. So Vicki is giving a workshop, Create Your True Self Warrioress Shield, on Saturday, February 18th. So welcome, Vicki.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, so I want you to talk a little bit about your story. You've taken several courageous steps in your life towards finding your purpose. There's these stages, first a stay-at-home wife, moving on to going to school, becoming a tenured professor. Tell us, taking those steps, was that difficult for you to make those are big changes?
It was very scary. So the journey began really in May of 1998. And at that time, I was in the 7th year of a not-so-great marriage. Like you said, non-working wife. I quit my job in communications to help my husband manage the hair salon that he wanted to open. He was a hairdresser. And I had caved in to my mom's pressure to, become pregnant. And that's a path that I always knew, even as a child, wasn't really my path. And we went back and forth, and I finally just surrendered to it and had become pregnant. And in May of 1998, I had a miscarriage, and I was lost. I had no idea what my purpose in life was. My marriage was failing. I hadn't been working for 4.5 years. My master's degree was 8 years before that, and I just thought, help, universe, what am I supposed to do? And literally 2 months later, I got a call, seemingly from out of the blue, from my former dean at Texas Tech University. I was in Texas at the time. And he said, I saw your feature story in the newspaper promoting the salon. I understand that you're not in a formal job. Would you like to teach a public relations writing class? Oh, it starts tomorrow. And I was shaking in my shoes, but I knew that was a key to kind of start getting my life back together and taking back independence and freedom. So I said yes. I taught the summer class. He said, hey, you did a great job. Have you thought about getting your doctorate degree? And I thought, no. So I went back for my doctorate degree, got a divorce. The degree took me 4 years to do. And during that time, for some reason, I gravitated to art because I don't have an art degree. I was teaching public relations, not art. And art is just something that I had always loved as a child. My grandmother is an artist, my aunt's an artist. And for some reason, I gravitated toward painting these female portraits, which I'd never done before. And after the third one, I thought, wait a minute, you're kind of painting a visual diary of what's happening in your life. And so I had the chance to totally move out of Texas. And so I chose a university in Connecticut, Quinnipiac University, and moved by myself, started teaching, and the art, kind of went by the wayside as a frivolous part-time hobby, because that's what, my family had always said is, oh, art's frivolous, do that after retirement. So I became a professor, figuring out that world, loved teaching my students, but I just knew that being a professor wasn't quite it. And it wasn't until 2013, I was 47 years old, I began meditating with Oprah and Deepak Chopra. And Deepak had a session where he said, if you could be anything in life, no fear, no obstacles, what would that be? And an artist just popped into my mind, and I just immediately started crying. And I thought, you teach public relations, you have nothing to do with art, what is this? All I knew at that time was that I could use my art in some way to inspire other women, because I knew that I had, unstuck my life that first time. And it just kept gnawing at me. And I thought, okay, here I am. I'm tenured. I was chair of my public relations department, but I knew I had to resign and just follow whatever this new calling was. And so I resigned and just took a blind leap of faith in spring of 2015. And eventually I moved to Washington State. That's where I live today. And I'm doing my thing as an artist and author and speaker and doing the Women of Wisdom conference.
Yeah, so that's a great example of someone taking those steps to. Sometimes you don't know where they lead to,
Oh, yeah.
and they have led you to your purpose of being an artist, and so that's one of the things you're helping people is, because we all strive for that, our life purpose. So,
Right.
how we define that, and how you help people find their life purpose. So I'd love for you to talk about that and how it benefits people to live and honor their life purpose. It's it's something we all strive for, but sometimes we don't feel it's attainable.
Right. The way that I define your life purpose is I believe that we were all born with gifts that we're meant to use to serve the world and make it a brighter place for ourselves and others. And if you're like me, like I said, I was totally clueless at the age of 47, no idea what my purpose was. Go back to your childhood, because, I can remember, going through photo albums, and I put a photo at the age of 2 or 3 in my book, Unstuck, that my grandmother took in her artist studio. And so, if you go back to your childhood and those things that really lit you up, those are clues to what your purpose is in life. Also looking forward, this is what we're going to talk about in my workshop at the WOW conference. Talk to your future elder warrioress and say, what would she urge you to do before your last day on earth, or else you'll regret it? And it may be something that you have no idea at this point what to do. And so if you can figure out what your purpose is, I'm living proof. You are going to live with more joy and texture and peace. And, I want to say you don't have to divorce your husband, move across the country, and quit a very stable job to do this. You can weave it into your current life, but it really does make it more vibrant and really more exuberant to find those gifts, claim them, and weave it into your life to help you and to help others. And so it really does bring more joy.
So true. So true. So what if people don't know their purpose, or they're feeling pretty stagnant in life? How do you help them discover that?
Yeah, I use it through art. I, blend art into everything that I do, and it's not that, you have to know how to do art to come to my workshops. They're for all levels. But I think art gives us a way to express things that maybe voicing them, speaking them, or writing them don't. And so I find that art, kind of brings something from the inside that you may not have known is really there. So if you, like I said, go back to your childhood, think today, what makes you curious? Because I think this whole thing of living your purpose, it really is following your joy. And part of that is looking at what makes you curious and what lights you up. And so just, maybe making a list of, oh, yeah, I'm interested in that. That sounds really cool. I don't know anything about it, but let me go research it. So things like that can help you, just one little breadcrumb at a time. Because like you said, you may not see the whole picture. I kind of think of it as those old Polaroid pictures where you shake it and blow on it and you get one piece of the picture at a time. That's kind of how this process is. You really have to surrender it to the universe, because it's not going to give you the whole map at once. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it's been a huge process of surrendering to the universe, listening to your intuition, and getting in that quiet space through meditation, yoga, walking in nature, whatever helps you listen to that inside voice that's connected to your higher self, that can really tap you into what your purpose is.
So true. We were just talking to my previous guest too, the same thing. So we're on a kind of a theme today of overcoming our limiting beliefs so we can move forward in our purpose and finding those things and being creative. I love it. Talking about your childhood, I just had a vision of, I used, the drawings you do as kids, and where there's lines at the bottom of the page, and you write a few things and you draw. And I remember seeing one a few years ago when I did. I couldn't believe what I'd drawn and what I wrote. It was like, wow, that was a poem, and and I want to go find it now because there was something about that. So one of the things that you're talking about in your workshop is your True Self Warrioress.
Yes.
And tell us about that.
Well, I love the topic of the conference, remembering who you are. And so to me, that is a you, capital Y, that true self of being connected to that higher divine purpose within your life. And so I like to call it a warrioress because that true self part of you is strong. She's confident. She knows what your purpose in life is, and she's ready and willing, to go do it. And so I also combined, I had just been to my first shaman retreat in August, and we learned about medicine shields and, how that's a really great way creatively to show the journey of your life and the gifts you've been given and the vision for your future. And so with the conference theme of, healing ourselves, we heal the world, I thought, oh, perfect. And so that is the plan, is to build all that in, to look at your childhood, look at what your future elder warrioress is urging you to do, and then looking at yourself right now. What are those limiting beliefs that you need to be aware of? What are ways to overcome it? And also, not just stuff to let go of, but sometimes we have to say yes to things. And so that's going to be a part of it too, is what do you really need to surrender to and say yes to in your life? And a lot of times, especially for women, we need to say yes to ourselves, and that's where that warrioress comes in. I deserve to put myself first, because when I do that, then I can take care of those around me.
Yeah, so true. Well, we need to take another break. We'll come back and talk more with Vicki Todd about your elder. I want to talk about your future elder warrioress.
Okay.
Dr. Bree Gibbs is a fourth-generation high priestess with the knowledge to raise your vibration in conscious creation, offering a wide variety of services from goddess light and shamanic healing seminars to private reading sessions. Bree works with you so you too can stand in your own power. Isn't it about time you took your life into your own hands? For more information about Bree's services and products, visit silvergaia.net. That's silver, GAIA.net.
Kris Steinnes is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
Sky Siegel co-hosts one of today's most popular psychic shows, Angels and Answers, with Artie Hoffman, as she communicates healing messages from the spirit world. These messages can be astounding, enlightening, and life-changing. Born with the God-given talent of inner guidance and the amazing ability to heal, Sky has healed thousands of people. Schedule a reading with Sky now. Call 908-500-1474 and visit skyofangels.com.
Tune in to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly Neff. This hit show will illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. Renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake to the greatest version of yourself. Learn to tap into your intuitions, think critically about our world, heal emotional and psychological wounds, and follow your passions to live your dreams. The Lucid Planet. Welcome home. Visit lucidplanetradio.com for more information.
The Earth is an ever-changing being. Goddess-like shamanic healer Bree Gibbs guides us through the ascending worlds and brings forth knowledge and truth. As a light creator, she is here to provide new information needed at this time in our evolution. Join Bree as she shares messages from guides, spirits, ascended masters, goddesses, and others. Tune in Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific for the Silver Gaia Show and live the authentic life.
Hi, this is Leslie Fontaine, and my show is Sheer Alchemy on TransformationTalkRadio.com. When we're bogged down with our emotions, the hardships that plague us in our relationships, at work, our finances, we literally can't see the higher plane where we could be operating from. Tune in to Leslie Fontaine, Sheer Alchemy on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Welcome back to Voices of Women. I'm talking with Vicki Todd today. She's giving a workshop at the conference of Create Your True Self Warrioress Shield. And Vicki, can you give your web address for people? They can check out what you're doing.
Yes, it's Vicki World Art, VICKI worldart.com.
Great. And so we were talking about this. You were mentioning this, making the shield and then bringing in, you got the child essence, going back to that passion that, for helping you find your purpose, going back to, what got you excited as a kid. And you mentioned the future elder warrioress. So let's talk about that. I want to go a little more into that of, what that looks like to explore and work with your future elder, and why that's important.
Yeah. I had read something last year that put this prompt in my head. And so I had written a blog, looking at my child self versus probably my 80-year-old self and what that would look like. And so I envisioned myself as an octogenarian, probably living in Santa Fe, New Mexico, because it's a really arty place, and I kind of feel I have an affinity to that town, and just sitting down with that elder version of myself and having a conversation. And so part of the things that have popped up for me with my story, with my different pieces of memoir art, they each tell my particular story at that snapshot in time. And also I'm working on my second book called Voices, where I'm interviewing other artists about their stories. And so my future elder warrioress said, why don't you turn that into a stage play similar to Vagina Monologues? Why couldn't that be turned into a documentary? Now, at this point in time, I have no idea how to do those things. But it's in my mind that I know if I didn't try to pursue that or figure it out by the end of my life, I would truly regret it. So those are the types of things. It's a very individual thing that I would like for the women in the workshop to do, to say, hey, what is it out there that maybe I have no concept of today, but what would that wise, seasoned version of myself say, you need to do this, that whisper, or else you're going to regret not doing it. So it's a really cool exercise.
Yeah, that's so true. There are those whispers, and oftentimes we ignore them. And then we have that regret, why didn't I follow that? Why didn't I do that? And there's a part of it, we don't want to have that, we don't want to reach 80, 90 years old and have that regret, and to be aware of that. So what you're saying is to kind of bring forward that future, bring it now so that you can it's kind of like planting a seed of this this is possible. And, all you need is that seed, and then watch the steps unfold, because the universe does provide for us, and what another aspect of it is the role of intuition that plays in it.
Absolutely. And the curiosity as well, because, like I said, I have no idea how to do, a stage play or a documentary, but that curiosity of, who could I meet? What would be the next step? Is there a workshop out there? Is there an online class? And so it's the intuition, it's the surrendering, it's the being willing to let those whispers in and actually listen, and then following that curiosity that brings you joy.
Yes, that joy. I mean, don't we all want that in our lives? And we're so, I think we're so conditioned to be victims or suffering or hanging on to the negative aspects,
right,
that actually we could let go of to bring in that joy.
right.
Why, and to realize why we're hanging on to old stuff.
Right. And I love that you said that, Kris, because, that's one of the first things that my mom had said when I resigned from my tenured professor position is, oh, you're wasting your education. I don't believe that. I believe that everything that has happened in our life, the good, the bad, the ugly, even with, my failing marriage, if it were not for that, I would not have started my portrait series that has now become my life purpose in this path. So anything that you've gone through can be a teaching tool. It can be, skills that you bring to the next chapter in life. And so, nothing is ever wasted. And I think that's a very good point to say, don't dwell on the negative, but look at the silver lining. How can I use this in the future?
Yes, it's paying attention to those messages and the learning experiences.
Absolutely.
Even the negative things that happen in our life, there is something to be learned. And how can you turn that, how we can turn around it in our life that draws us towards our purpose.
Right. Because, I believe in that quote that Maya Angelou had, that in every rain cloud, there's a rainbow on the other side. And so, we've just got to be willing, like you said, to let go of some of the negative stuff, the limiting beliefs that are holding us back, and say, okay, universe, I'm willing to see this in a different way. How can I see this in a more positive direction?
Well, what do you think is advice you'd give people, a mini step people can take to start carving out this place for this purpose to evolve?
Yeah, I think that, just things like maybe, like myself, since I'm new here to Washington State, I've never encountered a conference like the Women of Wisdom Conference. And just looking at the list of all the possibilities, the workshops and the speakers, how exciting. And so just finding things like that, whether it's in person, an online class, maybe a Facebook group or a meetup group, maybe a certain book that you could look at. Anything like that you could say, you know what, I'm kind of interested in that. Let me go check it out. Maybe it's just, blocking off one Saturday a month to go volunteer at a nonprofit that works with a cause that you care about. And so you don't have to just totally up your life right now and change everything, but just, what is one little thing you could do? Maybe getting up 15 minutes earlier to write one paragraph if your goal is to write a book. So, it doesn't have to be a huge step, but the small mini steps lead up to a huge effect.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking, and for my future retirement, the excitement of, I could take a class a month and something that, if it's watercolor or photography or something I'm just curious about because I don't have that to-do list for my normal work. and so I can explore, and that can be exciting. Well, thank you so much, Vicki, for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you. This is wonderful.
So you can visit her website at vickiworldart.com. Be sure to check out her workshop at the conference, Create Your True Self Warrioress Shield on Saturday, February 18th. And also Lea Bayles, who was on earlier, her Shakti Rising Unleash Your Creative Life Force, which is on Monday, February 20th. So look up, you can see the whole schedule. You can register for individual events. You don't have to come all weekend. So just go to womenofwisdom.org and look for the 2017 conference. There's links for conference information, everything that we have to offer there, because we have a marketplace, we have an art show, we have a healing temple. You can come get a reading, tarot reading, a healing. All that's going to be available at the conference. If you could just walk in the door for free to participate with those things. And then there's an event schedule page that gives all the events that are available for everybody to attend. people even just walk in the door and decide that day, okay, I want to go, let me go to this. There's always openings for most of the workshops. They're intimate and small, and you can also buy a whole weekend pass and just indulge yourself, which some people just love to do. We used to be 9 days long, so we used to really indulge, and now it's Thursday night through Monday. And we'd love to see you there. So check it out at womenofwisdom.org. And also a great Christmas present for friends or people you think that might be interested in the divine feminine. Check out my book, Woman of Wisdom, Empowering the Dreams and Spirit of Women. It's the exploration of the divine feminine through many voices that have been at Women of Wisdom, through some of our speakers, our artists, poetry, our singers. Their songs are written in the book as poetry, and it's a fabulous gift to give to people. So you can take a look at that, of course, on Amazon. You can buy it on our website, womenofwisdom.org, which helps support Women of Wisdom. So we're at the end of our show, and I hope everybody has a great weekend, and we'll be talking to you again next Friday.
You've been listening to Voices of Women with Kris Steinnes. Tune in each Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time for Voices of Women Today, radio with Kris Steinnes.